is because they don't know the end of things. They don't know what's coming. They don't know which way to go. And the only thing they have, if they have anything at all, is hope, a little hope, that's all, which is inherent in their soul. And so we must do something about it. We've got to do something about it. Because, remember, we're made in the image of God. We're His children. Why should we be this way? Why shouldn't we be buoyant, full of His Spirit? Why shouldn't we feel the joy of soul consciousness? We should. The Scriptures say we should. Let us just for a moment see what is spoken about this subject in the Scriptures. In the Bible, Jesus said what? He said, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world of material things and loses that joy of soul consciousness? And then he goes on to say, he gives you the remedy. What? Seek first. Seek first that joy of the soul, the kingdom of heaven. And what's the result? Life will be worth living, because all other things will be added unto you. Not just a few, everything will be added unto you. Life will become worth living. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, or the Vedas, of which the Bhagavad Gita, you know, is the textbook, so to speak, there we are admonished in the 9th discourse, in the 29th line and to the 30th line. What does it say? It says, get God contact. Get God contact, which you get through the teachings of Self-Realization Fellowship. The Master gave, by His sacrifice of His life, He gave the way where it's easy for everyone who will to contact God and feel the joy of the Spirit. Have that freshness again to make life worth living. So it says in the Gita, get God contact, in these words. They verily who worship me with devotion. You cannot worship God with devotion unless you feel and know Him, unless you are one with Him. So it says, get God contact. They verily who worship me with devotion, they are in me, and I also in them. Know thou for certain that my devotee perisheth never. Won't you be exuberant? Won't you feel good? Won't life be worth living if you know God is with you and that you will never perish? So it says in the scripture of the Vedas. Then the Quran, in the 9th surah, 10th surah, 9th verse, those who believe, pardon me, those who believe and work righteousness, their Lord will guide them because of their faith. Beneath them, this is the key, beneath them will flow rivers of bliss. That's the proof that you have God contact, the bliss of soul consciousness, the joy of His love in your heart. So from the scriptures we find these eternal truths. We must do something about it. We must somehow get the contact with God. And in the Avesta, what do we read? The Avesta of the Zoroastrians. Live in the world, but take your mind from the world. For the world is a snare and a labyrinth. Larry DeMarcia said the same thing as I repeated a minute ago. In spite of all the distractions of family life, one can remain unattached if the presence of God is in your heart. Like the lotus in the pond. I will come to that in a few minutes about living a worldly life. In spite of that, you can have the contact of God. Now at this time, I'd like to read an excerpt from one of the Master's letters. I know you love them very much as I do. And there are no words like his to put the conviction in our heart. So he says in one of his letters concerning making life worthwhile, if you are despondent and give up hope, how can you receive help? The divine can only help when we can unceasingly, uncomplainingly When God tests us, we begin to cry baby, so to speak. We mustn't do that. We must take it, having faith in him. Faith is the great thing. And so he says, unceasingly, uncomplainingly, keep the window of faith open. If one door closes, another opens if you do not give up. That faith we must have in God. Come what will. We are his children. We're made in his image. He is in us. Why should we lose faith? So the Master says, keep the window of faith open. It is our age-long unfaith. These are immortal words. It is our age-long unfaith which shades our soul opening and prevents the ever-shining light to get through. God is in us. This light is there. Still the waves of the mind. You see his infinite light. You feel his great presence. We simply have to keep the shade open so he can get in. This shade can only be kept open. How? By unceasing faith in spite of reverses in everything. And the nearer you reach God, the trials are going to be worse, he says. The trials seemingly appear very severe, but the one who steadily believes and thus deserves God's direct action and help will find some magic wand dissolving all menacing mountains of testing tribulation. You'll see the hand of God work.